Auto insurance can all seem the same until it comes time to use it. So don't get stuck paying more for less coverage. Switch to USAA Auto Insurance and you could start saving money in no time. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply. USAA.
Coming up on this episode of The Entrepreneurial You.
My aim for myself, and I guess how I critique myself and judge myself, is about my daily actions and wanting to be as good as I, say I am. And so it's important to, I think, embody all of the principles that you teach and preach. One thing you need to remember as an entrepreneur is that you always have an opportunity to reinvent yourself. You're never stuck as the person that you might think you are or that you were before.
Hey, it's John Lee Dumas of EO Fire, and it's The Entrepreneurial You, the show for dedicated and passionate Caribbean entrepreneurs seeking daily inspiration, brought to you by author, speaker, and award-winning entrepreneur Heneka Watkis-Porter. You must be prepared to ignite.
Hello, hello, hello. Of course, it is your girl, your Caribbean girl, your Jamaican girl, Heneka Watkis-Porter. Welcome back to another episode of the Entrepreneurial You podcast, where we bring you the hottest insights from the brightest minds in business and beyond. Of course, today we're taking things to a whole nother level. Our guest isn't just a CEO, he is a WBFF pro athlete and a published author. He's helping driven coaches and entrepreneurs achieve peak performance and scale their high-ticket businesses to the next level. If you're ready to get inspired and get fired up and maybe even break a sweat, this episode is just for you. But first, I just want to say thank you so much to my sponsors, 5-Minute Bookkeepers, HenekaWatkis-Porter.com, and the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Welcome, 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 Andy Anderson.
Thank you so much for having me. Really, really appreciate it.
It's so good to have you here with us today, and you're coming straight out of Australia.
Yeah, Heneka in Gold Coast, Australia. Beautiful Gold Coast. It's nice and sunny here at the moment, so it's beautiful.
Awesome. I love that. So today's episode is all about achieving peak performance, both in business and life. So we're going to really unpack how it is that you're able, Andy, to balance the intense discipline of a professional athlete with the strategic acumen of a successful CEO, and how you're just helping other entrepreneurs scale their businesses while staying at the top of their game, both physically and mentally. So I invite you, my listeners, to dive in as you get ready to unlock your full potential, whether in the boardroom or the gym. All right. But before we dive into that, let's get a little icebreaker with our guest right here, Andy. If you could only choose one, would you rather give up your morning workout or your morning coffee for a month? And why?
Give up?
Either your morning workout or your morning coffee.
Oh, I have to give up one of them. That's such a tough question. Wow. That's a hard one. I love both so much, and they're both so important. But I think I'd give up the morning coffee over the workout. I'd definitely stick to my workout. I think produce natural endorphins, and it's a crucial part of my habits and rituals. So I think I'd have to give up the coffee, but I would be very upset about it, I'll tell you what.
Yeah. But after a while, you get used to it. But the workout, I'm totally in agreement with you. Stick to the workouts, yeah?
Totally.
So, yes, I like that though. So you wear so many hats, right? You're a CEO, you're author, you're professional athlete. How do you, I want to say, juggle those roles and maintain your peak performance across all the various areas that you're involved with?
Yeah, I think I've been blessed because I started my business career in fitness. So I owned 18 gyms and a food prep business and a bunch of other businesses within the fitness niche. And so fitness was always a really big priority and value for me, still is, obviously. And because it's one of my highest values, I really made it number one priority to stick to for many years, especially through my 20s. So, through my 20s, being fit, competing, really making that an ingrained and focused element of my habits and rituals and my daily activity was something that was just always at the forefront. So because of that, I was really lucky to then be able to structure it into my days and make it second nature. So now, to be honest, it definitely doesn't feel like juggling. It just feels like a necessity. And so I think because I was able to do that so stringently and diligently through that period of time in my life, it's now an absolute infused and embodied part of what I do. And I think because, business and your energy and your wellness, I don't know that if a lot of people see the immediate connection, but you are you are the common denominator between every successful part of your life, whether it's your relationships, your fitness, your finances, your level of contribution. Your energy and your physical and mental fitness really is the difference that makes a difference in being the best version of yourself in all of those areas. So, to really achieve peak performance in business and money making and marketing and relationships, I feel like everybody has a bit of a duty to focus on themselves, on their energy, on their fitness, on their mental health, so they can actually be more in all of those areas. And so I really see them as a synergist, almost like a married couple. And if I can do both well, both obviously physical, mental fitness and also business, everything else in my life seems to improve.
How do you define peak performance, Andy?
Yeah, look, I think peak performance will have a little bit of different context for every individual depending on the level that you're currently at. And I think there's different levels of peak performance. But really, if I was going to summarize, it's an individual making the best decisions for themselves in order to reach their full potential in all areas. And I think, the quality of your life is determined by the quality of the decisions that you make. And someone who wants to live in the realm of peak performance is making daily decisions that are accumulating and pushing them towards the ultimate version of themselves in their fitness, in their mindset, with their energy, with their emotional wellness, with their business. And I think if you have that as a priority and you're strategically making those decisions, then you're well on your way to living a life within peak performance.
And you're right. There's always more that somebody can go. So, peak performance has a lot to do with where they are right now, where somebody is right now, and their capacity versus where they can possibly go. And it does take, I imagine, a growth mindset to get to that next level, whatever it is that we determine that next level to be. And for different persons, it's very different. But in your experience and the coaching different individuals, CEOs and, business owners, what are some of the fundamental things that you share, principles, concepts that you share that will inspire persons to move from point A to point B?
In regards to peak performance?
Yes.
Yeah. So look, I in one of my programs and in one of my businesses, I focus on the 4 intelligences, we call them, and it's the overarching concept. And I believe to become the ultimate human, it's within this principle of Buddhism called Demon Hand and Buddha Heart. I don't know if you've heard of that before, but Demon Hand and Buddha Heart is almost the way of like the ultimate warrior, the ultimate human. And in summary, what it means is that we have the ability to have both Demon Hand and Buddha Heart, either one or the other, or both together. Demon Hand represents strength, the ability to be powerful, strong, even destroying with the strength and the power that we have. But then the Buddha Heart is the ability to have good intentions, incredible values, kindness, and it's almost like the balance between the demon hand. And so when you combine those together, you really become the ultimate version of yourself, the ultimate human. And within that, there are 4 intelligences, which is mental intelligence, emotional intelligence, physical intelligence, and heart intelligence. And I think if you're wanting to work on peak performance and really be a well-rounded human being with both demon hand and Buddha heart, then it's working within those 4 pillars or those 4 categories. Because to be great in business and to be great in the logical world, you need to have high performance in cognitive function, logical thinking, critical thinking, leadership skills, communication. That's more mental intelligence. And you've got emotional intelligence, which is more around your understanding of your values, state management, things of that nature. Then, of course, you've got physical intelligence, which is all about your health, and that's your working out the body, eating good food, energy management, etc. And then hard intelligence is all about your ability to have empathy, kindness, meditate, connect to the greater, and connect to all. And so if you're able to work through those four pillars, I believe that's the fastest way to reach peak performance. And it's also the fastest way to reach ultimate strength, but also peace. Because often people can be really focused on peak performance, and then every other part of their life crashes. They lose the marriage. They ruin their body because they're just chasing cash. And I think that, a life worth living needs to have all of those pillars taken care of so that you can feel fulfilled, but also achieve a lot of great things.
Yeah, a life well lived is a life where you look at all those principles. Is it the same heart intelligence? Is it the same you would refer to as spiritual intelligence?
Absolutely, yeah, very similar.
Yes,
Totally.
yes. And spiritual intelligence, what you refer to as heart intelligence, is really the highest form of intelligence,
Absolutely. Yeah.
It supersedes all the others. Not they are important, but it's the highest form, in informing your intuition, informing your gut. So thank you so much for sharing that, Andy. Now, you've helped countless coaches and entrepreneurs scale their high ticket businesses. I'd like to ask what it is that is the secret sauce to successfully scaling a business, and particularly against the backdrop of a competitive market, being in a competitive market.
Yeah, great question. And I don't think there's one single thing that I could, say immediately. It is a bit of a cadence of a system to really make a business phenomenal. But I think, number one, it really starts with a great offer. Having a really good offer for your business that we call it an irresistible offer, a no-brainer offer. But if you can formulate an offer that is high value and, of course, outperforms the competition, then people are going to select you over everybody else. And so there's multiple ways to create a no-brainer offer, but it's really just about getting the formula right. And we've got a whole system around that. I think, from your features stack to your bonuses, your guarantee, your pricing strategy, if you can really tick the boxes in those areas and have an offer that outperforms, then you are light years ahead of most people. I think the next thing is going to just be consistency in your marketing and consistency in being able to over-deliver value and really, I think, show up in the marketplace with a level of reciprocity. And that means just leading with value, giving more than you ask. And that could be through your content. You could be delivering, 2 posts a day, all high-value content, not pitching a lot of the time, but just really there to serve. Well, then you're going to be creating trust and reciprocity in the marketplace. So people want to move towards you rather than move away from you. I think if you are giving free gifts and lead magnets and free challenges and things of that nature, if you give, people will eventually ask to work with you and move closer to you. And so when you can lay out consistency in over-exceeding on value and adding reciprocity to the marketplace with a phenomenal offer, and then, of course, a tight sales strategy, you're going to make money, and there's no doubt about it. But you really need to make sure that you've got the pillars in place to be able to over-deliver and then, of course, service those amazing clients.
All right. So you are World Bodybuilding, part of the World Bodybuilding Federation, right? As a pro athlete. So I would say the importance of discipline and consistency, and you kind of alluded to it a while ago, Andy, how it is that these principles apply to entrepreneurship, especially when you're thinking of scaling your business.
Yeah, totally. I think, the ultimate marker of a great entrepreneur is discipline. Business is all about showing up, doing the hard things when you don't want to do the hard things. But again, business is all about doing the hard things. And so I think if you're trying to scale a business, you're going to be faced with daily challenges, daily barriers, daily adversity, annoying things, hard things, difficult things, some fun things. But anyone that's run a business, and I'm sure this is the majority of entrepreneurs, everyone will agree, business is like 80% sucky. And then, of course, after that, you might have 20% awesome sometimes, but it's a whole lot of challenge most of the time. And so you need discipline to stick to the strategy. You need discipline to stick to a level of standard in your energy and your processes and of course, delivering to your clients or delivering to your customers. So I think discipline is the bedrock, the foundation of a great entrepreneur and a great business. And the more that you can show up in the face of adversity and show up when you don't want to, the stronger that discipline gets.
This is a point where we are going to take a break to hear from some of our partners. Let's take a break.
We needed to raise capital, but our experience with local financial institutions was that they were cautious and slow to act, and interest rates were far too high. We had real concerns about financing our business through outside equity investors and the possibility of interference. Could we get a fair valuation for our business? We had our own ideas about the business and its value. Should I go the traditional route of bank financing, or should I try the Jamaica Stock Exchange? So we made a call and experienced transformation of our business through conversations. I'm John Mahfood, CEO of Jamaican Teas, and we're listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
Give us a call today at 876-967-3271 to begin your transformation through conversation. We want to see your company listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
Welcome back to the Entrepreneurial You podcast. Of course, I'm having a conversation with Andy Anderson, who is really a peak performance coach. He's helping coaches and entrepreneurs to scale their businesses. So we've been talking a lot about peak performance, talking about how it is that he has been able to juggle his roles, and maintaining that peak performance across all areas. We've looked at, scaling high ticket businesses and what the secret sauce is. We looked at discipline and consistency. And now we're going to move into just getting some of those common pitfalls that coaches and entrepreneurs make when trying to scale their businesses and how it is that they can avoid those mistakes. Andy, let's hear it from you.
Yeah, look, I think number one is launching a business with no plan. If you don't have a structured system and plan around developing your offer, knowing your niche and your avatar, not understanding how to launch marketing systems, whether it's content marketing, organic marketing, or paid marketing, not knowing the sales process. If you don't have those things in play and you're just hoping and wishing things are going to work out, unfortunately, more than likely, the business will not grow. So, having a plan and being prepared is number one. I think number two is the biggest barrier I constantly see is themselves. Most startup entrepreneurs especially have a whole lot of fear and self-doubt and limiting beliefs that are stopping them from just showing up and taking action, even around simple things like doing content, So I think if you're an entrepreneur, do the inner work on yourself to really identify some of the fears that you might have around doing content or delivering and showing up and doing the work. Because if you can work on yourself and evolve with your business, you will grow, you will succeed, you will evolve. But remember that you are the glass ceiling on your business always. You are the cap. So unless you're growing, your business won't grow. So you need to make sure that you're really focusing on you as well. And then number three, I'd say one of the biggest barriers is people don't want to over deliver. People want instantaneous results, and they don't want to give and then receive. They want to give and receive, give and receive. But I think in this day and age, you have to be willing to lead with value first, and sometimes add value to the marketplace for maybe months before you get a proper decent return. And when you do that, you build trust, you build reputation. And I think a lot of people aren't willing to do that these days. So if you can identify those three things and work on them, you're going to be light years ahead.
Interesting. You've written a book, and we want to hear about that book. What's the title of it? What inspired you to become an author? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I wrote a book a few years ago. It's called The Ultimate You, Change Your Mind, Change Your Life. And it's really about the mindset behind peak performance and being an entrepreneur. I run through a whole bunch of different strategies and frameworks to help people improve their motivation, find their values, find their purpose, create a vision, overcome fear, create habits and rituals. So there's a lot of cool things in there. And I wrote the book because I'd always wanted to write a book. I knew I wouldn't enjoy writing a book because it's not my vibe. I love speaking and talking, and I love a lot of other things, but sitting down and actually writing the book was probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. It was very frustrating, and I knew it would be. So I wanted to challenge myself on that front and do the work to really see if I could pull it off and sell the book and get it published. And so I wrote the book over and over and over again. It felt like a million times. And then eventually I got signed to an incredible publisher in New York, and we launched it globally, which was amazing. But it was an incredible journey, a challenging project, but one that I'm really glad that I pursued.
All right. And where can we find it?
You can find it online. Go to Amazon, go to Audible. Most good bookstores will sell it online as well.
Okay. All right. I'm going to ask you this question because you are, you coach persons, you coach businesses, business owners, you coach coaches. What it is that qualify you, Andy Anderson, to be talking to people about high, peak performance and mindset? What struggle did you face in your life?
Yeah, totally. Look, I think the big difference between me and maybe others, and I say this as humbly as possible, is that everything that I coach and talk about, I've actually had to do and walk the fire. I mean, I've grown 18 gym locations, restaurants, bars, nightclubs, media companies, launched books internationally, launched a TV show on Channel 7 over here in Australia, grown multiple seven-figure companies, been a pro athlete, skydiver. And I don't say all of that to by any means big note myself, but I say that because I think that you need to embody what you preach and teach. And I think, stepping into authenticity every day. And, if I tell you to face your fears, but I'm not willing to do it myself, and I'm not out there jumping out of planes, challenging myself, then, who am I to share that with you? Who am I to tell you about business and really building a seven-figure company if I haven't built multiple seven-figure companies? And so I think that, why I can do this and I can do it from an authentic point of view is because I've walked that path many, many times. And so hopefully that gives confidence to my clients. But again, I think that in this day and age, it's easy to say you can do really cool things and talk a lot, but actually embodying them every day and walking your talk is a whole different ballgame. And so my aim for myself, and I guess how I critique myself and judge myself, is about my daily actions and wanting to be as good as I, say I am. And so it's important to, I think, embody all of the principles that you teach and preach.
All right. In Jamaica, we say action, not a bag of mouths.
That's right. I like that.
Just do it, right?
I like it.
So you have an opportunity to encourage an entrepreneur right now who is not quite sure whether they're going or coming, as they say, perhaps at a crossroads. Put on your peak performance coaching hat and take that person out of the rut.
I love it. Look, I think that one thing you need to remember as an entrepreneur is that you always have an opportunity to reinvent yourself. You're never stuck as the person that you might think you are or that you were before. I've reinvented myself multiple times, and hopefully I'll reinvent myself another 5 to 10 times over my whole life. I really hope I do, because things only get better when you fortify your skills, your mindset, your energy, and your passion and vision, and reinvent and move forward again. So number one, reinvent yourself if you need to, but reestablish a new standard, a new identity, a new focus, and a new vision for yourself. And that will be the foundations to move forward. I think number two, always work on yourself and make sure that you are prepared to grow and you're excited about improving and growing and learning. Be an avid learner every single day. And I think that will separate you from all of the competition and help you move forward in a rapid way. And then number three, I think in regards to a new business or just a business in general, find the thing that you are passionate about, but also the vehicle that will pay you dividends. And so I'll say this plainly because I've walked this path. When I started off as an entrepreneur, I'd go after all the romanticized shiny object businesses that I thought were amazing. I opened cafes because I thought it was a cool idea. And I love cafe owners, but margins are not great in cafes. And then I, over time, became better at business, and I realized some vehicles, some businesses are better than others. And you need to find the balance between having a great passion for the thing, but also finding a vehicle and a model that has high margins, low stress, and that will pay dividends over time. And so as an entrepreneur, if you can reinvent yourself, if you can fortify your passions and your passion for growth and moving forward, and you can find the right vehicle with the right level of passion, you have a winning formula to becoming a great entrepreneur and changing your life and the communities and everyone around you.
Well said. So you have $100. You've lost everything that you owned, everything that you know. You have $100 US to rebuild your life. What's the first thing you do, Andy?
Well, first I'd buy a coffee just before my workout, and I would sip on that double espresso to just give me a little bit of extra inspiration in the day. So that would be number one. So there's $2 gone out of my $100, and then what would I do with that other $100? You know what I would do? I think what I would do is I would, if I've got the knowledge that I know now, I would get that $100 and I would set up an ad, a paid ad on Facebook or Instagram with an offer, and I would create an offer and I'd put that $100 into paid ads, and I would get a few leads and I would convert those leads and I'd make a few $1,000s, and then I'd reinvest it again. That would be probably the fastest way to make money off that $100. If you had that skill set. I know not everybody does, but because I do have that skill set, that's what I would do. I'd run ads, I would get leads and I would convert them into more clients, and I would then reinvest that and grow it from there. And if I didn't have that skill set, I would get that $100 and either buy a bunch of books to learn how to do that, or I'd find the best mentor that I could for $100, and I'd get as much info as I could so I could take some big action. But they would be probably the fastest ways to grow off the back of $100. If you're buying the books, though, you might need a few more coffees under your belt to get through it all. I don't know.
All right. I like this conversation. I really do. So now we are going to move into the community connection segment. So just hang on a bit, Andy, while I share the community connection for this week. And let me remind us that it's in this section, I invite you, our community, to share your reviews, your questions, your feedback, whatever it is you want to share to engage with me. And this week, I'm sharing a review of my book, Podcast's Power, the Quick Start Guide to Launching and Leveling Up Your Brand. I'm sharing a review which comes from Donald Kelly. It's an Amazon review, five-star review. And Donald Kelly, out of the USA, says, I love this book. I am a podcaster, but I have not launched a show in a while. Reading Heneka's book helps me to focus on things that I previously overlooked in the process. She masterfully guides you as a reader and gives you the confidence to take action. I highly recommend anyone remotely interested in podcasting to check out this book. It is truly worth it. Donald, I truly thank you for this review. It warms my heart when I get reviews and feedback like this on anything that I do, whether it's the podcast itself, whether it's a podcast book, whether it's my coaching, whether it's my podcast production, because, I'm your Jamaican podcast queen, right? It's all about podcasting for me. So thanks again, Donald. So let me get back to Andy as I'm about to wrap our conversation. Andy, is there anything you want to share with me? Any final thoughts that you want to give me to leave with my audience?
Look, Heneka, I love what you do, by the way. I just want to say your mission's amazing, and I love your podcast. You're doing such good things for entrepreneurs out there. So again, thank you for having me, and I love what you do. So if you're listening, keep listening to this podcast, because you're going to get so much gold in the future. And I think my final thoughts are, just as an entrepreneur, if you can look after those 4 areas, your mindset, your emotional set, your physical, and your heart set, then you're going to be able to improve yourself every single day. I think life is about constant improvement, constant growth, if you're an avid learner, and you're willing to improve every single day, it's really hard to lose over time. You know, we go through ups and downs in life, and life isn't always easy. We're going to have some really rocky, sometimes terrible periods of life. But if you're an individual that has the passion for improvement and growth and adding value to the world, then over time you will get back on top and you will win. So I wish everybody out there nothing but success, and I hope that you continue to learn, continue to grow, and continue to succeed.
Awesome. Continue to learn, continue to grow, and continue to succeed. Amazing. Where can our listeners find you in the event that they want to reach out to you?
Amazing. So you can find me on Instagram. It's probably the best social media platform to find me at Andy_I_Anderson. You can visit our website at relentlesseducation.com.au and also YouTube at Relentless Education.
Mm-hmm. Okay, awesome. And for you have a 4-week challenge. Tell us about that. You want to give that to our audience? Tell us about that access.
Absolutely. So we've got an incredible 4-week and 10K and 4-week challenge, which means we're going to be helping entrepreneurs learn all the skills that they need to develop in order to make their first $10,000 within a 4-week period of time. And so you can go to my Instagram and in my link in bio, find the link for that challenge. It's called the 10K Challenge. And we help entrepreneurs and coaches, experts, consultants build their businesses and make money.
Okay, so go to Instagram, the Instagram page, link in bio, and you will be able to have access to that challenge. I am going to check out that challenge right after we finish talking. Andy, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. All right, let's move on to trending now. Trending now today. Did you know that according to a recent study, 70% of entrepreneurs believe that maintaining physical fitness is crucial to their business success? It's no wonder that more entrepreneurs are focusing on wellness and peak performance strategies. And so we see that so much connecting with what Andy Anderson is doing and how much and what he's, a big proponent of. So that's what's trending now. Brought to you by 5-Minute Bookkeeper as well. Did I mention them earlier? Yes, I did. 5-Minute Bookkeeper. All right. So again, I want to thank you so much to Andy Anderson for sharing your wisdom. Thank you, Andy. Your wisdom and insights, of course, are beneficial to our listeners, beneficial to me. A reminder to me that I must always focus on the things, be pushing myself rather to get to the next level, to reach my peak performance. And it's interesting that our communities here are called, our community members rather, are called peak performers. So I'm glad that we're able to focus on that today. Of course, your journey is such a powerful reminder that with discipline, focus, and the right strategy, we can achieve greatness in every area of our lives. Thanks again, Andy. A pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me.
And to all our listeners, here is what I want to share with you today. I want to remind you to go and leave a rate and review for the podcast, the Entrepreneur You podcast. Sharing is caring. You've listened, you've learned. And so I just ask that you lend that knowledge forward. You lend it forward. You pay it forward to others so that they can benefit as well. And the more you engage with the podcast, the algorithm detects that, this is engaging stuff. This is things that you want to know more of, and others will want to know as well. So it helps. All right. It helps me to grow. It helps the podcast to grow. I want you to affirm with me today, I am capable of achieving peak performance in all areas of my life. I embrace the discipline, I trust the process, and I never stop striving for greatness. To all of you, I encourage you, keep pushing forward, stay energized, and remember, the best is yet to come. I'm Heneka Watkis-Porter, and this has been the Entrepreneurial You podcast. Stay blessed, stay motivated, and keep shining. Here is a word from the Jamaica Stock Exchange, right? You're going to hear from the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Thank you so much to our sponsors, 5-Minute Bookkeeper, HenekaWatkis-Porter.com, and of course, the Jamaica Stock Exchange, which you're hearing from them right now. Thank you. Do take care.
We needed to raise capital, but our experience with local financial institutions was that they were cautious and slow to act, and interest rates were far too high. We had real concerns about financing our business through outside equity investors and the possibility of interference. Could we get a fair valuation for our business? We had our own ideas about the business and its value. Should I go the traditional route of bank financing, or should I try the Jamaica Stock Exchange? So we made a call and experienced transformation of our business through conversations. I'm John Mahfood, CEO of Jamaican Teas, and we're listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
Give us a call today at 876-967-3271 to begin your transformation through conversation. We want to see your company listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
This podcast is heard along the Marketing Podcast Network. For more great marketing podcasts, visit marketingpodcasts.net.